Well, I'm sitting in a ramp truck. I just hauled a vehicle from the back of the shop to the front of the shop. No, I don't haul them down the road this way. Just from the around, literally around the shop. If you've been a long time viewer, you'll remember this vehicle, but it's been a while. So if you're new, it's going to be a brand new project for you. And we've got about 3 weeks. Yeah, this is gonna be good. Let me introduce you to it if you hadn't seen it. Lord have mercy.
I'd say it's a nut job.
So the wind's blowing kind of hard out here. I may just take my little mic off and clip it in my hand. Try to block some of the wind noise. You'll just have to excuse the Bob Barker pose here. Well, here it is. The last time this car actually ran and drove was, if you go way back in my videos, you'll see where we went to Drag Week 2023. This was our Huckleberry. It's been a minute. Brought it home, and it's been sitting ever since. Now, there's a reason why it's been sitting. Shortly after I brought it home, the fuel pump went out on it. So it was one of those, I'll get to it. And then I borrowed the little skinny front runners for the Cougar. So now it has two completely different wheels and tires, different sizes and everything on the front. It's still got the 275s on the back, but we'll probably do something a little less aggressive for this road trip. I don't know yet. But as it was sitting, I borrowed the front tires off of it. I borrowed the carburetor off of it. It needs a fuel pump. The entire time we've owned this wagon, the fuel tank has leaked, and it's made of unobtainium. You can't get a fuel tank for these cars. It's on the driver's side, but it's tucked up in the fender well. Nobody reproduces them. I've searched for years. So there's a lot of issues to address. The interior has turned into a storage building. We're pretty much going to do a rescue of our own vehicle here. That's great. Definitely need to knock all the pine needles and stuff off of it before we put it in the shop. I don't want all of them on the shop floor. In case you didn't know, it's just a 68 Ford Galaxy with a long roof on it. I mean, that's honestly all it is. All right, it's in the shop. I'm going to take a piece of paper. Probably need a long piece of paper. And I am going to make a list of everything I need to do to this car so I don't forget anything. The car needs a lot. And most of that's my fault because, again, robbing parts for other things, right? Let's make a list so we don't forget anything, and maybe we can make one trip to the parts store and get everything we need. Wishful thinking. All right. Oh, I swept a lot of this off the car before I pulled it in. It appears it's going to need more. All right. Right there. I know a lot of the roadkill guys and stuff write their shit right on the window, but I'm not going to do that because my luck, I'd never get it off. All right, first thing we know we need a fuel pump. That is ultimately why I stopped driving it. So we know we need a fuel pump. I'm going to need a fuel line. And I need to install the gas tank. I do have a different tank for it. It's going to require some creative modifications to get this tank in there. Bear with us. The wiper blade right there is broke that I just noticed. We need a throttle cable. The throttle cable on this one was borrowed. I know we're going to need to charge the battery if it's still good. I lost my mic for a brief second, but that right there is just the beginning of the list that's actually going to end up being on this car of things we need to do to it. So soak that in for a minute. Well, as per usual, it's going to be a couple of hours before our fuel pump gets here. We need a spacer on there. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to run a spacer. I don't know what that is for. Well, we got a vacuum leak right back there anyway, because there's no vacuum cap on that. I try to keep gaskets in stock. Well, one thing's for sure, I'm going to change things. Now, we all know I'm a huge fan of the VRS carburetors, and there was one on this, but as I mentioned earlier, there's been some parts borrowed for other projects. So, that being said, we're going to put this AV2 carburetor on our AVS2 carburetor. We're going to put this carburetor on it. There's nothing wrong with these carburetors. They get a bad rep, but there's nothing wrong with them. They're good carburetors. And it's going to serve the purpose. We're not trying to make a race car here out of this. Although this thing has been on drag week, it is not the intended purpose for this car. This is supposed to be something we can cruise around with the family in. How are the different sizes? What's going on here? Right in the middle of that. Gonna be too long. Gonna need to be cut down. Gonna need to be. I'm gonna put a spacer on that. That. A reusable air filter. Get that in there. And on that. And this. On that. Yes, that's gonna be too long to use my little fancy. Yep. Okay, got that cut off. I might trim it just a little bit. Carburetor's on, and I have an air filter that will fit it. So one step down there. Make sure this thing's tucked in all the way. And the reason I'm trimming it is because this particular air filter has a little button head on it, so it's smooth on top, and it'll only go as much as it'll go, so and still be smooth across the top. So it's tight, but you can move this if you try. So I may take one or two more rounds of thread off of that, just to tighten it down. By the way, I've got a set of air valve covers on the way that match that air cleaner, so that'll help dress it up in a little bit, once I actually spend a minute to clean it up. So now we'll get to mark at least something off the list. The carb we have taken care of. We now have a carburetor on there. I guess I can put the fact we did get the air cleaner on it. So leave it to the parts store to give me something just good enough to use, but just different enough to be confusing. The part that matters, bolts, the arms the same length, same shape, same curve to it. So it'll work. It will physically work on this car. What's different is on the one that came off, the threaded fitting was on this side and the nipple was on this side. So what I don't know is, does that mean on this one it's reversed and now this goes out of the carburetor and not this? Or did they, for some reason, thread and put the threaded part on the side that comes from the tank? I think it means these are going to be flipped now. Where before, this side went up to my carburetor, I think it's now going to be this side. I don't know. Maybe the paperwork that's with it will tell me. Install lines and start engine. Of course. All right. All right. All right. All right. I know I got to put a tank in it and a fuel line on it. So, did I really need to put the fuel pump on it first? Who knows? And that's one more thing we get to mark off the list. So, we now have a new fuel pump on it. We now have a carburetor on it. I do not have a throttle cable yet. Let's mark that off the list, though. I think we may be to the point where we could pull an old derrick here and possibly pour some fuel into the bowl on the carburetor. I have some of that 2-cycle fuel for the weed eater. Pour some of that into the carburetor vents there. Prime that up a little bit and fire the motor up for the first time in a long time. It's dead on full and looks fairly fresh. Now I've got no throttle pedal, so can't actually give it no gas. So we'll just have to hope it starts and idles. Or could just hope the battery actually had any kind of charge on it. Let's try that again. Well, we know it runs now. I kind of expected that to be the easy part, to be honest about it, because it is a fairly fresh motor and it did run fine before. So I kind of expected getting it to fire up and run being the easier part. And it ran till it ran that little dab of fuel out. Honestly, I didn't get that much fuel in the bowl. So now we know that this thing will start up and run again. Whew. And it actually sounded pretty good. There was no noises, there was no ticks, no rattles. And even using 2-cycle oil or 2-cycle gas or whatever you want to call it in the carburetor, it didn't even smoke. So I'm actually kind of shocked about that one. All right, so step one down. We know the engine will fire back up and run. These little spacers are awesome about getting stuff off of everything. Sometimes you need just a little bit. I believe it'll stay. Think about it every night and day. Getting in the wagon and driving away. All right, slide this down just a little bit. Let's my battery's still charging, so I don't want to shut that all the way. So what have we done here? Installed a carb, fuel pump. We did fire the engine. We can mark that off. I think that's all we can mark off right now. So what's next on the list that we want to try to tackle? The battery is being charged now, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark charge battery off because it's in the process of being charged. Oh, I guess we're going to go ahead and take care of a couple of these simple little things just to knock them off. Things that don't matter, but at least it makes me feel like we have accomplished something. One is this roof rack. I think I'm going to pull it off of there real quick, get it off the wagon and out of the way. Random lug nut. Get it off and out of the way. I am not a big roof rack kind of guy. This was put on here, as I mentioned earlier, so we could haul a Christmas tree. That was its whole purpose of being. That has happened. That has been done. And there's really no reason for me to keep this rack on here. At the end of the day, guys, it's a station wagon. There's plenty of cargo space. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's been on there a minute, hasn't she? There we go. Let's kind of how I like to roll. I like to make stuff, come up with stuff that don't cost anything. I know everybody talks about, well, it costs you time, and time is, but you know, I understand all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. But here's the thing. As far as I know, unless the Lord changes his mind, time I've got some of. Money, I ain't really got none of that. So, gonna do what I do. To do what I do. All right. It is easier with two people, but right now I don't have to worry about scratching paint. So well, that looks a lot better. Was that on the list? I'm sure it was. Roof rack. Oh yeah, that's gonna be one I'm gonna enjoy crossing off. I wish I could get rid of that stupid rear view mirror that's in it, but for some reason my wife's in love with that mirror, and it's the most useless piece of trash. I'm not getting into that. Right here is where you can get in a rut on a project real quick. You don't have all the parts here to do everything with, so you just kind of stop, and then you know it takes a few days for the parts to get here. You've started on something else, and you know what I'm saying. This is where you can fall into a rut. I don't have everything here to kind of go in any kind of rational order. So you do things that you can do to keep you busy on the project until your parts get here. Like the roof rack. Did that matter if it even happened? No. But it's one more thing I can mark off that list while I wait on actual parts to get here. Just like this windshield wiper right here. I don't know what's going on with it. It's some reason it's rolling on the blade like it's so I'm going to have to get a new wiper blade for it to fix that. So I'm going to have to add that to the list, but I check to see what's wrong with it so I get to wipe something off the list. You know what I'm saying? I could take a zip tie and fix that, but these blades have been on here for a while, so blades are cheap. I might as well just put new blades on this thing and be done with that part altogether. I've got some parts coming straight from Elderbrock. They probably will be here in about 2 days. I've got some parts coming at the local parts store. They won't be here until tomorrow. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things now where we just got to pluck away at the things that we can pluck away at. Just kind of move along a little bit at a time. Let's address the gas tank issue in this thing and see what we can come up with. I got a feeling there's a bunch of junk piled in the back that we're going to have to address everything at one time. As I mentioned before, the gas tank is right here on this car. It's actually up inside this fender. It curves a little bit, so it goes kind of around the back tire, the back of the back tire. It's up here, curves around, and it's up in this quarter panel. When I say that tank isn't available, I mean it isn't available. They do not reproduce that tank. And here's the weird thing that's, I mean, us Ford guys love Fords, but you have to admit Ford will do weird stuff for no reason. Excuse me. You have to admit Ford does stuff, just weird stuff for no reason. I've looked at other 68 wagons. Uh, there's a stretch there where the back end of these wagons are all the same. The only thing they changed was the front sheet metal. And I've looked at several of them out there that's either wrecked or not running or whatever to try to find another tank. wagons at different trim levels. This is technically this one is the Ranch Wagon, not the Galaxy Wagon, but it's the same body. Different trim levels, that tank is not in that fender. It has a completely different tank in it. There's some of them have the tank under it. There's some that have the tank toward the middle under it. Some have a weird shaped tank that goes around a spare tire holder, and then there's a few of them that have this. Specifically the Ranch Wagon in 68, you cannot get that tank. You can't find it used. You can't find it in the aftermarket world. It's just not there. And I've spent close to 10 years digging around on this tank because I've tried to patch that one twice. It's just got so much rot in it that you patch one place, eventually another one starts. So there's just nothing left for me to do but just go a different direction altogether on the gas tank. And I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. Again, I don't know if I have everything here to make it done, but I'll show you exactly what I have in mind. We're going to work through it together, and I think what I have planned is going to work. But until we get it back there, I don't know. So let's try it. This is one of the other things that I have to fix too. This is just a piece of plexiglass that I have 2 bolts in right there holding it into place just so it doesn't suck fumes back in. So I'm going to have to figure out some kind of functional rear glass for this because I need this to go up and down on the road trip, just about putting luggage in and getting luggage out and not having to crawl through and all. So I need to get this where I can let it up and down. But right now, let's drop this, possibly get out of the way, get the tailgate down or swung open. If you don't know, these tailgates will swing both ways, much like John Bon Jovi after too many drinks. This thing will fold down or it will swing out. So you've got options on how you open this tailgate, and I'll show you that after I get this piece of plexiglass back out of here and we can move forward there. There we go. Why not? There we go. Get my piece of homemade plexiglass out of there. Tailgate goes down, so it's like a regular truck tailgate. And then closes and it goes across, which is probably how we're going to open it up for this one. They used to call these in their sales ads the magic tailgate. It doubles, it goes both ways. I've got a rod right here that goes over the side that keeps popping off, and that is causing me a little problem with opening it, but nothing a little WD-40 and a zip tie can't take care of. About to put a zip tie on this rod. I'll show you what's happening here real quick. There's a little rod right here. See how it falls out? Then you got to fish it back up into this hole right here. Supposed to have a little clamp on it right there, and it's missing. But for right now, we'll find other ways to hold it in place. Time being, I'm gonna hold it in place with my hand. Then we're just gonna swing the tailgate open this way, because this way will give us better access. This is the way you can walk right up to the back of it. Honestly and truly, this is really the only way I think you actually need one. I think the other way is more about sitting on the tailgate picnicking than it is actually loading and unloading stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just the way I feel about it. So, Let me get some of this junk out of the back of this thing, and we're going to look at what I've got going on as far as what I'm thinking about for a gas tank. All right, so I've got this cleaned out. This particular one did not come with the way back seat, the history seat, the rear facing seat, third row seat, whatever you want to call it. This one did not come with it. This one came with storage for a spare tire and all other such things. So what I'm going to do, or attempt to do, put a gas tank in there. Maybe. So here's what I got in mind. You can see this is a wealth of area right here. Right here is where the tank is on the side. If I take this cover off right here, put a tank in here, I think I can manipulate a neck so it comes down and goes right in the tank right there, so you don't know that the tank's not in the factory location. All of this only works if I can if I can get the tank to set low enough inside of there. So I've got a couple of options, but I'm going to show you what my first option is and what I'm thinking. All right, so what we have here is a gas tank that is made for a Ford Bronco. The big bodied Broncos, like the late 80s kind of Bronco, maybe into the 90s. I have an idea that I think may work. I'm not sure. So I'll let you in on my idea. Let me set this over in here and we'll take a look at it. All right, let's see how this works. Let's set this in here. Oh, kind of like this. First off, if you look at this floor, there's not a single pinhole anywhere in it. This entire car is like that. But, all right, so that would be below where all this is. That would probably be okay. See, the outlet or the inlet is right here, which would line up with right there would line up right about dead even with where the inlet on the car right there is. What I'm thinking, though, what if originally I was thinking just like this and strap it down. Well, just like regular tank strap it down right there, put our floor back over the top of it and forget it. But what if I cut the floor right there and dropped it down to this rail right here in the center and let it hang through? I don't know that I'm going to do that yet. But if I done that, that would put the filler net way down low. Because honestly, if we can come and turn it right in here, I'm not mad at that. Even if I move the tank over, I'm not mad at that at all. Because right there, if you look through right there, it's a little further forward than I thought it was. Oh, right there is where that is. So it could come back and come right into that. It's kind of where my head is right now. And if I go this route with it, then I put a sending unit in it, my stock gauge up there will work and all, and I'll have a accurate fuel gauge. I think this tank is 22 gallons. I think it's what this tank is. Where the stock tank on this thing is like 12. So I essentially almost double my fuel capacity. And at 20 miles a gallon, 22, it's either 22 or 25 gallon fuel tank will get me a long way. So I like the idea of using this. Okay, let's look at it from this angle. See right here, the filler neck outside, right behind the little cooler. So it's like right here. So it's not much different. That's as far forward as it can come. It's not much different. Just run down at a little angle, go straight through the same way, make a little loop. It's got to go downhill. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I think if this is our car right here, right out here is the hip where your tire is, right here. And that filler neck is right here. I think if we put that tank inside right there, I think we can still use this and go down like this and put a loop in it and come over. As long as this section right here is still downhill, not uphill. I don't even know that flat across would hurt it, but as long as we got just a little downhill slope, so we come from the outside, come down, and just put a little loop in it, just like that, just so there's a little downhill slope to this, and I think we're okay. As long as we vent this to the outside, I don't see where it would cause any issues at all. If you think about it, earlier cars, the Cougar, every Mustang I ever paid any attention to, the trunk floor was the gas tank. Didn't matter if it's fastback or what. So I'm thinking that as long as we vent it and run a vent to the outside, seal up our hoses real good, I don't think we'll have any issue with fumes or anything. So I'm kind of content with that being the plan, to put it here. The only thing I've got to decide is, do I want to drop it through the bottom right there and just get it even lower? Don't know. This would make it easily serviceable also if we put that hinged piece back over it. Put the hinged piece back over it, just like it was for the spare tire carrier or spare tire wheel or whatever you want to call it. Then it's easily serviceable, accessible, and honestly, I could even come in and put a piece across here and still have a little bit of storage back here. I think that's the direction I want to go with it. Let me look under it and make sure that I ain't missing anything under it. All right, here's the bumper. There's that wheel. It's flush with the bumper lock. It doesn't hang below the car at all. All right, so how far below the rail does that tank protrude? We're going to say 4 inches to be safe, but it's not 4 inches. It's less than 4. But we're going to say 4 inches to be safe. And we're measuring from this rail here. Actually, you know what? Let's give ourselves plenty of cushion. We're going to say 5 inches. Let's see what 5 inches down would look like. All right, let's back. We're going to hang down. Let me zoom out of that. Five inches would be right in here. Yeah, I think that'd be pushing our luck because it looks like we're about 14 off the ground. Yeah, we'd be pushing our luck cutting a hole in that, so I don't think that's the way to go. So that doesn't look like the way to go. So it looks like the way to go with this thing is to set it on top of that floor in there and not go under it. All right. So if we're sitting right there, man, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it in the center, right? Just sit it right in the center. And if I'm doing that at this angle, yeah, we're going to go through it right above where that sits. We continue this line straight right there. Right there. You can see how that would go through just above that. And I don't really want to, I mean, I could right here, but that's not very much drop at all. We're just barely above that. I can make that go back just a little bit. So that would put it in line with out there. It would come straight down 90 right on the other side of where that tape measure is. And then it just sloped right into the tank. And then all I'd have to do is make one small place right here and right in here, so we'd have like an oval cut out right here. And then I would just build a round piece of, or a half circle piece of sheet metal there that angled down, and put some riv nuts in there and a couple of bolts, and you'd never really notice it, I don't think. For better or worse, that's kind of my plan for the fuel tank back here. Now I need to go and see if I can get my hands on a fuel sending unit. And whatever that plug is supposed to be in that hole in the center, that may very well turn into a vent. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but we may make that a vent right there and do it just like we do on a race car with a fuel cell. Put a line that comes out and goes to the outside. So if anything, so any fumes vent to the outside. We are far enough below all of this to where this isn't an issue. We're well below that. Tape will turn on its side. Yeah, we're well below that, probably 3 inches. All right, guys, I'm going to have to end this video here. I don't like making really long videos, and this video got way too long. Trust me, what you see will be edited down from about twice as long as it was. I'm going to edit out all the stuff that I don't think is all that important and just give you the highlights, basically. This video was not all win. This video was a lot of, I don't want to call it fail, but it kind of was, because we don't have the parts to do with what we need to do with. We don't have, we're just short on some stuff. And this was more of coming up with a game plan, I guess introducing y'all to the project. We have parts on the way. More parts supposed to be here tomorrow. More parts supposed to be here in like 2 days. And we got some more parts coming. I don't know when. But by the time you see this video, all that stuff will be here and we'll be putting it on. I don't really like doing multiple parts, but we're going to call this one part 1. This is going to be a to be continued. The next video will be what I hope will be all win. It's going to be taking this thing down the road, test driving it. Of course, we got to do something about our wheel situation. We got to figure that out. But test driving it, we're going to get this fuel system installed. We're going to get that all buttoned up and go. I got to order the fuel sending unit for this thing. So that's something else I've got to do. It's going to be all win in the next one. The next one, by the end of the next one, I promise you guys, we will be test driving this car. This car will be moving around on its own. It will be doing what a car is supposed to do, and we'll be test driving it to see how it functions and how it runs and all. We're going to do something special in the back over the top of where the tank is. We have a mountain of things to do to this car. Once those videos are out of the way, this car will probably be pushed to the side, and we'll be back on most likely the Jeep project. This is getting this ready for the road trip so that I have a couple of weeks to drive this car and hunt for any gremlins in this car. So I need to have enough time to drive this car around and make sure that everything is good and sound on this car and we're not going to have any issues with it. That's what this is all about. I would like to have enough time to where we could do a paint and body. Why do we always say paint and body? You got to do the body work first. A body and paint just sounds weird, but we're going to do that hopefully if we have time. What I would like to do is get the interior episode filmed on this and done, get the Jeep back in here, get the Jeep body work done, and then we could do a body work episode on both the Jeep and this at the same time. Prep both of those to be ready to be painted at the same time. That way we do one big paint deal and we're done. I have no idea if any of that will work like it's supposed to. But I hope you guys enjoy something out of this video. I hope you guys enjoy what we have planned for this video. If you have any thoughts, drop them. If you have any ideas, drop them. If you have anybody that has some wheels they want to part with, this thing has center lines on the back that are 10 inches wide. I'd like to have some center lines on the front, but in something like a 5, 6, maybe 7 inch wide, like a normal size on the front. If I don't find some center lines for the front, I have a set of Kragers that are the wrong lug pattern that I may get adapters and run the Kragers, or I have some steel wheel options that I may put on it. But I think the steel wheels would make this look like your grandma's wagon, and I kind of like the idea of it looking like a muscle wagon, you know? I don't know. You guys let me know. You do the thing. I'm tired. I can't even function right now. You do this, and you let me know what your thoughts on everything is. I'll put some links to some stuff in the description. Tired. I'll also put my email address in there, a mailing address in there, the normal stuff. So if you guys want to reach out to me, I'm accessible. Oh, sorry we didn't have more wind in this episode, but that just sets us up for the next episode to be all wind, right? We did get to fire the thing up. We did get to hear it run. I'm happy about that. So anyway, God bless you guys. I hope the Lord bless you more today than He did yesterday. To Him be the glory. Guys, we'll see you on the next one again where, Lord willing, it's just all win. Y'all hang in there.
I'd say it's a nut job.